Welcome to Racebot TV Monday Night Skippys here. Rachel Whiteford, Linus Brostrom bringing you all the action from Oran Park Raceway here in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. Cars going through the final motions of qualifying here on the track tonight, and it's looking like a pretty standard affair with Paul Grillo leading the way so far. Him Antonides behind him, and Mark Mercer, Mario Larson, Mark Turner, Adrian Bidewell, Tim Adcock and Stuart Adcock, and Keith Sharp, Mick Watson, rounding out your top 10 for a small grid tonight of only 22 cars. Linus, it's looking like a good racetrack tonight. It's short, it's twisty, it's tight, and it's definitely going to produce some very close racing.
Yeah, it's not a very big track, and with all the tight corners and fast corners and whatnot, it's going to be a really good race with a lot of good battles and overtaking.
Of course, no, you're not too familiar with this track, and you've had to go and look on the iRacing page, or the actual circuit, and look up all the facts. What can you tell me about the place?
It's located in New South Wales, which is not in Wales, it's in Australia. And it's an 8-shaped track like Suzuka.
Well, thank you for that incredible geography lesson from you. Yes, of course, it is one of the few racetracks, and only one of two we have in iRacing, apart from the Monza combined layout, which is a figure 8 racetrack. So these cars will go over the bridge and under it at one point as they run around this circuit. We're going to be doing 19 laps here tonight as we just run down those final few moments of qualifying. 19 laps, and what is a very tricky racetrack. The final corner tightens on you, Linus. The bridge to go over, you've got elevation changes, so it's going to be a tough fight. Of course, the cars you saw last week, who do you think is going to come out on top?
I think it's gonna be maybe Fahim Antonides, but I think Mark Mercer will want to get some revenge after his little mistake late in last week's race as well.
That's a interesting prediction, and one that could certainly come true. And looking through those times right now, of course, it's getting very close so far. Top 9 all within that 1 minute 16 bracket there. The pole currently being a 16.038. And if we do count that as a... Oh, there are 12 cars, I believe. No, that's time improvements. So now, within a second, we have the top 13 cars, Linus. And very tight field. The slowest car being only a 19. Wow, we have 15 now from Paul Grillo. Improvement from your pole sitter by a tenth of a second. 1 minute 15.908. Absolutely stonking lap there from Grillo.
Yeah, had a very clean lap and not many mistakes at all. He's going to be dangerous tonight, but I still think Fahim will be able to battle him out and get the checkered flag.
Well, we're going to have to find out what happens once the green flag flies. Of course, the qualifying state has been shown. Checkered flag. Now that session is complete. Drivers finishing those final laps they are on. If they are in fact on one, they'll have just under time for a lap to complete one more circuit round. So we can see improvement from Mark Mercer. Antonides is in the pits. He will not improve. Mercer's on track. Turner is not. Larson is not. Adrian Bidewell is on track. We will soon find out if either of them can do anything here. Challenge the dominant lap time there from Grillo. 0.3 of a second clear of Antonides in second place. Great machine there. Just not quite able to snatch that top spot, but a brilliant lap nonetheless for the Red Bull Skip Barber Renault car, which is quite an awesome little paint scheme on that tiny little car. Enjoy Fahim's Formula 1 themed paint schemes he always runs in this series. Well, no improvements so far from the drivers on the racetrack. Mercer going across the track. It will not be an improvement for Mark Mercer. He will start third. So we'll get those finishing position or qualifying positions up on your screen right now, and we'll go through your qualifying. Well, Paul Grillo takes pole position with a 15.9. Behind him, well, alongside him on the starting grid will be Fahim Antonides. Mark Mercer in third. Mark Turner fourth. Larson will be alongside Adrian Bidewell. Tim Adcock alongside Stuart Adcock. An all Adcock fourth row there. Keith Sharp, Mick Watson, Bill Fraser, Chris Stokes, Piers Cocky, Simon Maltby, Paul Thruston, Mark Fisher, Kieran Roche, James Williamson, Barry West, Martin Brandon, Ben Summers and Dave Grunhill. Starting last in 22nd if he goes to the grid, which we will find out very shortly, as those cars will now be heading across iRacing.com starting grid as we begin this race here tonight at Oran Park. Don't forget, of course, this race brought to you in support of Shelter, the charity supporting young people suffering and dealing with homelessness and housing crises. Don't forget, Will Vincent will be running the 2016 London Marathon, so you can donate and sponsor him in his run for homeless. So great cause there for Will Vincent, and you cover this series, of course, for free in support of Shelter. So those cars finally heading onto the grid right now, and Paul Grillo is in his top spot. Anthony does alongside. Mercer takes the grid, as does Turner. Larson, we're still waiting for him and a few others, but just under 1 minute remaining, Linus. Going to be a tricky first lap.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Grillo will need to get away good off the line, otherwise he's going to be in for some real big trouble. Especially since the pole spot looks like it's on the right side of the track. Antonides will be on his inside if he doesn't get going well.
Absolutely, if we don't get a good start from Grillo, that could be an early lead there from Antonides as he runs into that first corner. Final moments now counting down. It's 20 seconds from that green flag. Engines revving. No, it's been less time than that, I thought. Engines revving. Starter has his flag. Green flag in the air. We're racing at Oran Park. Good start by that. No, not a great start by Grillo, but enough to keep himself ahead of Antonides. Mercer with a brilliant start there into that first corner. They'll both hold that defensive inside line through this first sweeping left into the tightening turn 2. But Mercer will go around the outside. What can he do here? Can he go round the outside of your race leader? He won't make it. Grillo will hold that lead. Before make it through turn 1 fairly cleanly right now. Had a couple of cars touching the grass. Tim Adcock, one of them. But everybody is through and away. David Grinnell did not start, of course, Linus. But interesting first start to this lap.
Yeah, it's been very clean first couple of laps, and a lot of cars are still side by side. They're all managing to get up single file now. It looked like we had some contact there for 6th and 7th, nothing too much, just a little bump. But otherwise a very, very clean start again from
Mark
these
Turner
guys.
going backwards there. Big loose over the top of the bridge there. So Mark Turner goes backwards. He is passed by the cars there of Tim Adcock. Oh, Stuart Adcock, I apologise. And Tim Adcock. So the Adcocks going through. We have contact behind them. We have a couple of cars off the racetrack. We'll have to find out what happens here. I believe that is the car they're off. It is Mark Turner. Going to get a replay up for you now. Mark Turner heading through. Loses the back end on his own. Spins across the grass on the infield. A solo car incident there. But bad start to the race there for Mark Turner, Linus.
Yeah, that's not really the way you want to start a race when you're that far up as he was. We also had another incident just before that. Kieran Roth turned up to the grass on the inside.
It was.
So he's now in last place.
Kieran Roche had an incident himself, and that was contact there with the car behind him. Going to replay it for you if we can. That's a 236 car there. That is the machine of Martin Brandon. So an incident again for Kieran Roche on that first lap, which is a major problem for him. Oh, second again, incident-wise. That's not 2 good races in a row. Battle now, Adrian Bidewell, and that is, I believe, also... No, it's not Bidewell. Bidewell's not fighting anybody. Behind him, though, the Adcocks are running nose to tail. Can't expect much fighting from those guys. Probably working together, let's be honest, as up ahead, the first 3 are making a good breakaway. Grillo, Mercer, and Antonides, all 3 of them making a good escape, Linus. They're not really fighting right now. Long way to go. They're making sure they just build that gap.
Yeah, they want to do it a bit like they did last week. Just sit in line, not fight too much, because as we know, fighting costs you time, and that lets more people get involved for the fight for the lead, which increases the risk of an incident.
It is. Antonides looked at the inside there. He was trying to find a way past, but just not really wanting to push the issue so soon. Incident we have on track. Mario Larson flipping his race car over. Oh, last corner incident with Mario Larson there. Getting that up on your screen as soon as we can. Unforced error, running wide, hitting the curbs, or hitting the outside wall, and rolls his car on his own. What an incident there in slow-mo you're seeing. Mario Larson started in P number 5, and he is out.
Looking further back in the field, the biggest mover so far what I can find is James Williamson, who started 18th, he's up to 14th already, made a couple of good passes. And obviously also benefited from the car's crash.
In behind Williamson there, that was, I believe, that was again the car of Martin Brandon who spun. No contact with that car, I believe he managed to hold on to that one, but that's a break for Williamson now. He's not got much competition behind him after the cars had to check up for the spinning Tsunamiku car of Martin Brandon. A good escape from Williamson. We'll see if he can find some pace now and push forwards. Of course, that driver had a great run at Lime Rock Park, Linus. He was pretty savvy on the very short, tight track, very similar to this.
Yeah, he had a good race as well. Kept it very clean and passed a lot of cars, and I think he was the biggest mover in that event as well. So it'll be nice to see him when he gets up more towards the front, see how far he can get in this championship in a few seasons.
Certainly will. And looking down now, P5, 6 and 7, that's the Adcocks who've swapped places now. So it's Stewart ahead of Tim Adcock. Behind, they're being caught by Keith Sharp, who started up in P number 9. He's up 2 places right now as the drivers navigate that treacherous final corner. Of course, we've seen already Mario Larson run wide and catch that one, but the wall comes back out at you, Linus. Just how difficult is that as a driver to deal with?
Well, it can be pretty difficult, but if you practice enough, you'll learn how to avoid it, because it's just like any other track, really, where the track just comes out. Only difference is you can't make a mistake because the wall won't move and you can't run over a wall. If you hit the wall in these kind of cars, your race is pretty much over, so you just got to be really careful, because it can be hard if you don't practice it enough and anticipate that it can happen.
Well, the expert scientific opinion there from my co-commentator of walls don't move. You heard it here first, folks. I was under the impression they could pick up and move around at will. At least that's my experience as a driver. But up front, Antonello's, Mercer and Grillo still not really fighting. Still the same racing order as they have been from early on in this race, although Antonello's running wide there in the run through the S's now, the final part of this lap. Just trying a little too hard to catch up to Mercer. We saw him have a look a few laps ago, but no serious challenges from him. Bidewell running in a bit of a sucker hole in P4 right now. A couple of seconds back from your lead pack, but he is still ahead of P5. As I've been informed, I'm not live, which is a common problem for me. But he is still in a sucker hole, so I was still right. Behind him, though, Stuart Adcock and Tim Adcock separated somewhat, and Keysharp not really catching them, looking back further. Here's Cocky, Simon Maltby and Paul Thurston. Good fight there from those guys. Just trying to get together on the racetrack. Not quite able to get those cars together, but Maltby and Cocky have caught Fraser. That is 8th, 9th and 10th on the racetrack. So we'll see if anything brews up from this one, Linus.
Yeah, looks like we can be in for a pretty good battle here. He's been catching them for a couple of laps now. So if you can just make a move to get up there, I think we'll have a 3-car battle. But right now Fraser's gonna have to get behind him, because Pierce Cocky's making a move going into turn 1.
There's Cocky running around the outside of Bill Fraser there in that 12 machine, the John Player Special Lotus Skip Barber car. Beautiful machine. Got a wide entry to turn 2. That lets Cocky up his inside. Cocky has this car side by side. He'll have to hold it round the outside now of treacherous turn number 3. 180-degree right-hander. Won't have the advantage. In fact, he might lose a second spot there. He will. Yes, he does. Maltby gets, well, had his nose at the inside, but can't hold it there, so he will hold on to P number 9 for now. But under threat once again from Simon Maltby. Can Maltby get anything on Cocky? He would have to try quite hard here. Not many passing opportunities, Linus. This track is not really lending itself to wheel-to-wheel racing.
Well, not in open-wheel cars anyway, but they're still making moves and trying to pass, but what this has done is let the 2 cars behind them as well catch up a bit, so we could very well be in for a 5-car battle pretty soon, if we're lucky.
Very much so, and that's Thurston and Watson who are catching that 3-car train of Cocky, Maltby and Fraser. We'll have to see if they can do anything.
But Mark Mercer is making a move for the leader going into P1.
He is. Mercer, well no, he's not into P1 yet, but Mark Mercer all over the back there of Paul Grillo. Desperately trying to correct the issue from last week, and he wants to get in there, get involved. But Grillo not letting up. Of course, it was actually Paul Grillo last week, Linus, that had the incident and caught the grass there, losing that spot to Mark Mercer. Grillo wanted to stamp his authority on this race early on and maintain his lead.
Yeah, he had a really silly personal mistake last week, got a slowdown, and that pretty much cost him the win in that race, I think. And looking at the cars now, it looks like both Mercer and Antonides has damage on the front wings. And maybe Grillo also has a little bit of damage on the right side of his front wing. So I don't know what they've been doing, that might just be on my end, I'm not sure.
Could well be a bit of rubbing is racing from those guys, but curbs are in part quite severe and certainly able to cause issues with those race cars, as we have apologies coming through from Mick Watson. What's he been up to? He's had an incident, he's gone off the track. We have to get a replay from this one, and there was contact. Turn number 3, Mick Watson goes up the inside. Replay should be coming up, but he goes up the inside there of Thurston. Just cannot get that car turned. Last time I saw a dive bomb like that, it was a Stuka, but Thurston at least keeps his car moving, but he rejoins the racetrack in an unsafe manner, and there, contact with the 5 car of Fisher. Off he goes again, and will park that car. Not a great moment from him. Replay should be up there.
Mark Mercer is just taking the lead from Paul Grillo, and Grillo's going wide in the gravel.
Oh, Grillo on the
He's dropped
gravel,
out
he
third.
is. Yeah, Paul Grillo's on to 3rd position, lost 2 spots there, running wide. Mark Mercer taking your race lead. Antonides goes through behind him up to P number 2, so great opportunistic racing there from that. We're going to replay up your pass now for the lead. That was in turn number 5. Just before the bridge, of course. There you go. Grillo running wide, just made a mistake again. We'll have to see exactly what he can do here, but Mercer now leading the way from Antonides. Antonides maybe inspired now. Push that little harder, Linus. Now this position he's fighting for is the lead.
Yeah, after that he got really close to Mercer, but I think he tried to push a little too hard there in the last corner, because Mercer got a bit of a gap. So he's going to have to calm down now, Antonides, and try and look for where Mercer is making his mistakes, or where he's weaker on the track than
Ooh, lock up there
Antonides,
from
who just
Antonides.
went
He
wide.
goes off the track, he does. Wiggling under braking there. He had to brake more than he expected, as Mercer braked very early into turn number 2. Antonides, well, getting loose under braking that car, having to go straight to avoid spinning, and he runs wide, gives that spot up to Paul Grillo, who now only 1 position back from where he started this race. We'll have a lot to catching up to do though, to try and get back past Mark Mercer. I was just going to say something interesting actually there, Linus. In fact, I remember what I was going to say. Apparently, you're not awake enough. You need to liven up.
Me?
Yes, apparently
Why?
you sound like you're asleep.
Do I sound like I'm asleep?
Apparently so, according to YouTube, but
Oh, really?
Mark
I'll blame the
Mercer,
Swedishness.
yes, we can blame the Swedishness. 2 Swedish, 5 this.
I need
but,
to think when I talk, so that makes my my voice sound very
Makes you
flat.
bad at language, we know. Mark Mercer, though, will continue to lead below in P number 2. Antonides definitely dropped back now. He's in the region of... wow, he's dropped 1.5 seconds off your lead pair. So far, we have 10 laps completed, so just over halfway now. 9 laps will be remaining for these drivers, and I've got to say, Linus, you do an incredible job as short notice stand-in here for a couple of weeks, considering you're not a native English speaker. That's an impressive job on commentary.
Thank you. Looks right now like Paul Grillo is trying to get back ahead of Mark Mercer as well. He's been on him through the whole last half of the last lap and start of this lap, so could very well see him back in the lead very soon.
We could. Paul Grillo piling on that pressure now to Mark Mercer, chasing him to push even faster and faster. Last time round, Paul Grillo was the fastest car on the racetrack. Definitely an element of draft there for him. A 16.3 from Grillo. Mercer with a 16.9. So, well, 6 tenths of a second, big difference. Certainly not all in draft off the final corner. But Anthony is not really able to catch up to them as well. Bidewell under threat now from Adcock. That 4th position, which was so safe and so lonely from Bidewell, is now come under attack from one half of the 2 Adcocks. One of them is attacking Bidewell, the other one's being attacked, Lannis, by Keith Sharp.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be 2 pretty good battles here, but I think Stuart Adcock is going to get this 4th position soon, because he's been on Bidewell, he's been catching him, and now he's right on him, trying to make a move, and he's next to him going into 1, and he gets that position very easily.
Textbook move there from Stuart Adcock, because he will take that position there. We have a car running off the track. That's a lap down car. That is Kieran Roche.
Grillo is up
He
on
has
the
run off
outside
the
of
track
Mercer
and
now,
yeah,
going
the lead.
into 3.
We had nearly too wide there, running for the lead. He'll fall back in line there. Grillo taking the sensible option. Not pushing too hard, but he is all over Mark Mercer now. We've got some real pressure building for the lead of this race. As that red car, the number 27 machine of Grillo, goes after the 33 Club 100 machine of Mark Mercer. We have a dogfight forming on our hands, Linus.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good fight all the way to the end. But let's just hope they can stay on track and not take each other out.
Well, it's happened in the past. We're going to hope these guys do this one without making contact. We, of course, remember Phillip Island and that contact up in Lukey Heights that led to, I think it was Mark Mercer suffering quite heavily in that moment. Paul Grillo. But those two guys managing to get it through the final corner, no problems, but the fighting has let Antonides catch up, so it is certainly not a done deal just yet. Looking back through your pack, try and find something exciting for you guys to watch. Well, more exciting than the big battle we have with the leader. Most of the field pretty spread out right now. Although the battle between... Oh, that's
Mercer's gone wide on the exit of 2.
He has.
Grillo's up next to him into 3 again.
Too wide. We thought we wouldn't see it, but we're too wide into turn number 3 now. Paul Grillo on the outside. Can he carry that momentum? He does. He holds it on the outside, but it won't be enough. He just keeps that nose there. We'll back out before the final kink there as we run through the moto course, not the Grand Prix course here, naturally. But that is Grillo still sitting in second place. Really got the momentum here on Mark Mercer, looking for an opportunity to pass. Has to try and find a way, Linus, to force his way to the inside, but expert defensive driving from Mark Mercer.
Yeah, he held his own very well there around the outside, where he made a sensible option and backed out through the little left-hand kink, which also almost caused Antonides to crash into the back of him. So Antonides is not giving up either. This is going to be very close to the finish.
Well, it's not just close for P1, 2 and 3, it's close for P4, 5, 6 and 7. That is both Adcox, Bidewell and Sharp. So we're looking at a double dogfight here, Linus, as we head now with just under 7 laps to go. It'll be Mercer from Grillo, although Grillo to the inside into turn number 1. This could be an opportunity for him. He does. Mercer backs out. Well-timed draft pass there from from Paul Grillo. I apologise, getting them mixed up. But Grillo in that 27 back to the lead. Not familiar red car of his. Mercer will have to set up a second right now. Not sure he's quite got the car to catch up to Grillo, Linus.
No, he made a good decision there. He's still 6 laps to go, 7 maybe even, and Grillo is definitely faster, so there's no point fighting him because it's just gonna cause a wreck eventually if he fights it too hard. So he just made a sensible option and decides to sit in second and try to stay ahead of Antonides.
And championship points in mind for Mark Mercer. Doesn't want to do anything to damage that run in the points. But Antonides certainly wants to spoil that party. He's hunting now for that 33 Club 100 cars. We have Tim Adcock loose there, heading up towards the final S's section. Passed by Keith Sharp. Not a big incident, just looseness there from the Martini Williams car of Tim Adcock. Adcock's leading that foursome now. We've got Adcock's at the front and the rear. Although Keith Sharp hit the wall. Wow, impact there from Keith Sharp in the final corner. Back end of that car stepping out and slapping the wall. Good reflexes there from Tim Adcock, Linus, to avoid.
Yeah, that's going to ruin his race. And also Antonides took back second place from Mark Mercer going into 1.
He did,
Don't know if Mark Mercer might have a problem or something, because he's lost 2 spots there now going into that corner.
Mercer been pushing pretty hard, I think, in the initial laps of this one. Might be going off on the tyres there. A car not quite turning as well as we've seen. Of course, in the laps building up to this pass by Grillo, Linus, we did see the incident where Antonides was caught out as Mercer braked very early, so potentially tyres going off for Mark Mercer and not able to hold up.
What happened is, going out of the last corner, he actually tapped the wall with both his right side tyres. So that cost him speed down the straight, and I think that might be costing him for the rest of this race, because that might have ruined his wheel angles.
Heartbreak for Mark Mercer. He might have suspension damage on that car as it's looking a little dicey for him. Definitely dropping time here, so potentially suspension damage on the 33 car of Mark Mercer. He will try and hold on now to 3rd position. He's got 4 seconds back to Stuart Adcock in P4. Could we see a podium change here?
He's gonna have to be really careful here to not go off the track once, because one little mistake now will definitely cost him that 3rd place, because he's not gonna have the pace from here on out. But Adcock obviously knows this, and he'll be pushing hard to catch up before this race is over.
Well, Stuart Adcock probably doesn't know anything. In fact, he can see that relative dropping now, so he knows something's up with Mark Mercer. He can see him again, so Stuart Adcock in that 52 car pushing hard now. He wants a podium finish. He will do everything he can to get up there, but just how far will Mark Mercer drop in the next 4 laps? Only 4 laps remaining here at Oran Park, and it all goes so badly wrong for Mark Mercer. Antonides in second, Grillo in first. Antonides really hasn't got much for Grillo here, Linus. I don't think he's going to make a move for the lead of this race. Grillo in conservation mode now. He's running to the front wing of Antonides. Really doesn't need to push that hard.
No, unless something happens, it looks like this is the way it's going to end, but Anthony is in just... I think he wants to push to catch up to Grillo, but at the same time he needs the championship points, and the place where you can gain the most is if you get a good exit out of the last corner and you don't want to push too hard and hit the wall. But on that lap he actually gained over 2/10 on Grillo, so we could have a battle on our hands anyway.
And Mercer drops even further. Last time round, 3 seconds between himself and Stuart Adcock. This time by, it's down to 1.3. Now it's under a second as they head into turn 2. Mark Mercer will not be finishing in P3, Linus. Adcock has seen his target. He's seen how slow he is. We're going to be seeing a pass here for the final step of the podium any time now. Brilliant driving from Adcock, pushing so hard. Bidwell behind him, not quite closer as he is, but we could see Mark Mercer go rapidly down the grid here as Adcock closes in for the kill as we head up towards the bridge.
He's just going to have to go into damage limitation mode here and try and let these guys pass as quickly as possible, losing as little time as possible, because the more battle he's going to put up, the more time he's going to lose and the more spots he's going to lose before this race is over.
Will have to be a very careful move here from Stuart Adcock. Doesn't want to make a mistake, but Mark Mercer has to know his car is damaged and wants to lose the least time possible. As inside goes Stuart Adcock into the final corner. Mercer concedes a place very, very easily. I think he knows his car is damaged. Stuart Adcock got a great move there, but back comes Mercer. Will he try and make the pass back into turn 1? That draft playing a big factor. Will he fight this one and try and hold on? Mercer's going to look. He will not be able to get there, having to brake earlier with that car. As here comes Bidwell as well. Look at the closing distances in the braking zone for Mark Mercer. Just not able to go into as deep as the other guys.
No, looking at his car going down the straight as well, it looks like he's wiggling a little bit, so at least one of the wheels is not going straight anymore, so he just needs to be careful. And if he would have tried to get that position back, there's no doubt he would have taken them both out. So it was smart by Mercer to stay behind, I think.
Mercer about to concede another spot here to Adrian Bidwell. Move his car up to the 4th position on the racetrack here as we have under 2 laps to go at Oran Park. Mercer struggling to hold on to that 4th place. He knows he needs the points, but that car skittering and skating sideways back and forth. There's nothing he can do. We'll talk about the lead, but well, Paul Grillo is a second clear of Fahim Antonides this time by. Although they're about to catch lap traffic. That is the car there of, I believe that is...
Ben Summers.
Yes, it's Ben Summers that was being passed by your leaders. He's managed to get through without any trouble, getting out of the way of your leaders, but there, Grillo, 1.2 seconds now to Antonides. Adcock, 6 seconds back, but it doesn't matter, he's on the podium. Mark Mercer, though, desperately trying to hold 4th. He can do it if he holds on for 2 more laps. Just 2 more laps. Bidwell sniffing, looking at the inside of his rear wing there into turn number 2. Can he get through in 3 or 4? Not much time left for Bidwell to make this move. Mercer seems to have found his running position, Ernest. Equalised perhaps with his damaged car as to where he might have been running. So this could be a fight in our hands.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to put up a little bit of a fight here, but Adrian Bidwell just hasn't got a good run on him anywhere. But I don't think he's going to be able to hold him next time down the straightaway if they both get good exits. Absolutely
not. Bidwell has to sit back here and just bide his time well. Yeah, I said it. He has to wait here, coming out the final corner, line up a run, just focus on that exit and try and get that run into turn number 1 for the inside line. Don't think Mercer will really defend it, but he's going to have to sit back here and make a sensible move. As we'll see him come into this final corner, he does lay back a bit, looking for a tight exit there from Bidwell. Good exit from Adrian Bidwell in that number 14 car. Run down the front straight here. Big draft off Mark Mercer's car. Mercer not quite to the outside, so bit of a defensive line from Mercer. He can hold it once more. He will hold the position on the racetrack as lap 19 is in the books. We're going to be going on this final lap now. White flag has been displayed to the drivers, so one more time around. This is it. Paul Grillo, not far to go, claiming the race victory for him. Antonades will claim a second place on the podium. Stuart Adcock, barring any mistakes, will be P number 3. But what we're talking about is P number 4, Mark Mercer, damaged car after slapping the final corner outside wall. Can he hold on to P4, Linus? This is going to be a tough final section of corners here as we run over the bridge into the final S's sector. And one more opportunity really for Bidewell to make a move.
Yeah, Mercer has started going really well now since Bidewell got in his rear. And actually looks like he's going to be able to do it.
He will indeed. No, he won't make it through. In fact, he can't do it. It's not close enough there. Paul Grillo will come across the start-finish line. Paul Grillo will win at Oran Park. Take another race victory for that 27 red car. Possibly one of the plainest cars in our field. It's never seen a paint scheme in its life. It is certainly fast as he takes a victory there. Antonides will claim P number 2 from him as he celebrates in the sandpit. Adcock will be your final podium sitter here tonight. P number 3. Car still coming across the finish line now as Mark Mercer did hold on to P number 4. Inspired drive from Mercer. Just incredible defensive racing, Linus, just holding that spot.
Yeah, he did well. Probably took him a couple of laps to get used to what the car was doing with that little damage he had, so
he did.
But he sorted it out very well and held on to 4th place.
Yep, and we'll get those finishing positions up on your screen right now and we'll run through your results. Paul Grillo, of course, taking the win here today. Jaime Antonides will come home 2nd, Adcock in 3rd. Mark Mercer holds on to P4 with a stellar drive. Adrian Bidewell, P number 5. Tim Adcock, P6. Keith Sharp, P7. Piers Cockey, P number 8. Simon Maltby, Paul Thurston round out your top 10. P11 finish from James Williamson. Mark Fisher in P12. Bill Fraser with an uncharacteristic P13. Barry West, Mark Turner round out your top 15. With Chris Stokes, Martin Brand in the last cars on their lead lap. Ben Summers, Kieran Roach, Mick Watson, Mario Larson, and Dave Grunnell scored laps down. Well, high attrition race here we saw tonight, Linus. Incredible racing action from these guys. Oran Park proving once again why it is always a favourite on the schedule.
It was a really good race, a lot of nice battles and a few passes, and a winner who was able to win even though he made made a little mistake and got into gravel. Don't know if he got help to get out there, but it was a really good battle at the front almost all race long, and I'll like to see these guys come back here very soon.
Well, we certainly will. Great race here once again from the UK&I Skip Barber series, and don't forget, we are doing this in support of Shelter, charity looking after young people dealing with homelessness and housing crises. Don't forget, Will Vincent is running the 2016 London Marathon, so if you want to sponsor him, that's all the information is on our website, racespot.tv. Of course, this has been a presentation for iRacing Live here from Racespot TV. I've been Rachel Whiteford. I've been joined by Linus Bergstrom. Well, UK&I Skip Barber Racing School series. It's Monday Night Skippies. What else do you come here to watch? Good night.